When you start to lose motivation, you find it again because you're so passionate about the problem.
Thank you, Mr. Beast, for sponsoring Morning Maker Show.
You can't raise money without traction.
I want to introduce you to our new sponsor, Red Bull.
It wouldn't be the Morning Maker Show if Dan didn't make a bad joke. It's a real-life toggle switch. It's a proper mechanical keyboard.
I love it.
I need it.
Good morning, Sandra, and good morning, Marie.
Good morning, Dan. Good morning, Marie.
Good morning, Dan and Sandra.
It's totally fine, because if we manage somehow to do things properly, it wouldn't be Morning Maker Show.
No, we would lose all the charm that we have. We're live now, and we have a absolutely brilliant, fantastic show. I'm so excited about this. I woke up at 6, I just told Marie, and I woke up without the alarm clock 5 minutes before the alarm clock because I was so excited about it. So, Marie, we're going to talk about Llama Life, her awesome product, now growing, having employees, and how she got there, and all of her success. It's going to be awesome. We're going to talk a little bit about Build in Public, and that it's dead again, according to some people. Then a little bit on the darker side, that some people are feeling like a failure. There was a big post on that, and people reacting to it. We're gonna cover that too. And then wait, this is just in. Build in Public is not dead. It's been brought back, but now you need to post toilet pictures from Dubai and squeeze your product in between the updates if you want to build in public. Over to you, Sandra. Do you wanna introduce Marie?
I mean, you did already a brilliant job with the introduction. I just wanted to add that Marie is actually a self-taught coder, an indie maker, and Build in Public. I hope it's not that, because it would be just sad, because then Marie went and built a VC-funded startup. So I'm super excited to hear everything.
She can tell us if it's really that.
Yeah. But I mean, how did you get even the idea? I love the product. I use the product. But tell us more where the idea came from.
Well, the idea actually came, it's a couple of things. So when I was learning to code, when you're learning to code, like one of the things that you make is like a to-do list. So that's partly where it came from, because I was learning kind of in theory how to code, but I needed a project to work on. And a to-do list is a really good way to learn how to work with data and create data, write the data, retrieve it, all that stuff. So I thought I'd make a little to-do list. But of course, Llama Life it's a little different to a to-do list, because it has a timer attached to every task, like a countdown timer. And then from a design perspective, it's kind of fun and lighthearted, and it's really designed to help you focus on things, not just make a list, but actually work through that list and get it done. So part of the reason I made it was because I needed to practice what I was learning in theory. But the other reason I made it was because I just really, really wanted a product like that for myself. And I got diagnosed with ADHD about like 10 years ago now, like a very long time ago. And, focus has always been really hard for me, like to actually work through something and not get distracted. And I have tried other products similar to Llama Life, and I've just tried using timers as well. But I kind of needed a little more, and I couldn't quite find something that was exactly like what I wanted. So I was like, well, now I can code. I might as well build it, I might as well try and build it. And the product is really an extension of myself. Like, it's every little feature that goes into Llama Life is something I want and I've needed, and I couldn't find it, or I couldn't find exactly the version of it that I wanted. So it kind of just grew from there. That's kind of the genesis, or the reason why I made it. But the reason it started taking off was actually Twitter. It was actually Built in Public on Twitter. So that's kind of, I guess it's why it's such a good fit for this show, because if I wasn't building on Twitter, I don't think it would have got the same kind of traction that it got. And there's a bit of luck in there as well. Obviously there's always a bit of luck factored in.
Yeah, that's what they say, but it's usually hard work, and then the luck is such a small part. But I wanted to ask, a follow-up on this. How did you know that Llama Life is it? Like, at what point did you think, okay, I can actually go full-time on this? Because you quit your job in 2018, right?
Yeah.
Was it because you knew this is going to be it, or you just wanted to try it?
Yeah, so this is a really interesting question because I always get questions from people going, oh, when did you quit your job, or how did you know when it was right to quit your job? But the thing is, like, there's no right answer to this. It's whatever works for you. And it also depends on your situation, like the context. Like, do you have a family to support? You know, who else is dependent on you? And so for some context, I didn't have anyone dependent on me except my dog. So all the risk I was taking was my own risk, right? And it's very, very different if you have, you know, a family of 5 to support or a family of 3. Like, there are other people relying on you, so it's much harder to make that decision. For me, and for me, it wasn't like, oh, Llama Life is making this amount of money, so I can quit my job. That was not the case at all. It was more, again, kind of an ADHD thing for me, where like I can't do 2 things at once. Like, I'm very, very bad at multitasking. So for me, if I had to do a full-time job and make Llama Life, they would have both suffered, and I wouldn't have been able to put the amount of focus that I needed onto Llama Life. The other thing with me is that I need a certain amount of urgency, and I need huge consequence to happen if something, you know, to give me that sort of kick that I need to make a product. So for me, I actually just quit my job, and I really didn't have any, the product wasn't working when I quit my job. I'd already quit my job way before that, way before even learning to code. I quit my job, and I was like, okay, I have, you know, 1 year of savings, and I need to make something happen in that 1 year. And that created like a deadline, that created like consequence and, you know, urgency. And that kind of made me do stuff. So for me, it wasn't that the product was working. It was more just, I need this personally to get going. So I did it. And my circumstance was, I was single at the time, you know, so it's only my risk to take.
Yeah. So would you, in hindsight, would you not recommend, but do you still think this was a good approach? Essentially going all in, because a lot of people, they do things on the side with the job, and then of course there's like a very small percentage that get to the point where the product is so successful that I could say, okay, now I quit my job. But because they still have the job, they lose motivation after a while, and it's very difficult to build something while you have a job. So do you think this is the right approach, just going all in and putting all your might and energy into one thing and making that work? And then if it doesn't, you go back to the job, and then that's it. That's the end of the story.
I think it depends on the person. It depends what they need to get going. And it also depends on what product they're making, because, you know, Llama Life's B2C, and that's really different to B2B.
Oh, yeah.
The sales cycle is a lot shorter with B2C. So, you know, I can ship a new update and someone could buy it straight away. Whereas B2B, there's a much longer sales cycle. And if you're dealing with like large enterprise, there's also security checks that you need to go through. You have to have lots of meetings. You've got to find the right person. Does that person have any influence within the company? Are they the decision maker? What sort of security checks? Like, maybe you haven't applied for the right certification. I have friends doing B2B, and there's a very long list of things you have to do. And you might even need to take out insurance, like all sorts of stuff. And by the time you do all that, your product might be dead. So like Sandra's nodding because like, yeah, okay, yeah. There's a whole different thing. So I sort of forgot the question. Was it that, would I recommend this? I think it comes back down to your personal circumstance, what product you're making, what do you need to get going? Do you have savings? Because if you don't, then it's very, very risky. Do you have a mortgage? There's so many different factors, right? And where do you live? Cost of living in somewhere like Bali is much cheaper than living in Australia or the US. So all those things, there's no right answer, but these are the things that you need to think about when you're trying to make that decision. These are the things like you go, okay, well, does this suit me? And that's why I think it's also very dangerous to see stuff on Twitter where people are going, this is the way. That's not correct. Like, what is a way for you? You have to figure it out yourself. Like, you can't just read someone's tweet and go, the way is to go all in. That's not going to work. Like, what about the product you're making? What about your savings? Yeah, I think people should just take all these factors and make their own decision is the way to go. There's no right decision.
Yeah, I fully agree with you. And I think that you said something interesting. You had savings and kind of opportunity to go all in. But then we see also makers that do this side project and work in the same time. And there is a difference with like how much time you can invest and etc. And let's like, if you imagine a perfect scenario where you have savings and opportunity to do so, do you jump on the project even before you see any traction, or you still keep on doing it as a side thing? Because I'm somewhere similar on like, my attention goes all over the places. So it's a very interesting thing to think about. Like, would I jump on a project and immediately, or I would need some traction to prove myself that there is something there? So
yes, I'll give you an example from what happened with me, because so one thing people might not know about me is this is like it's not the first time I've quit my job. So I actually first quit my job in 2014. So that's, oh my gosh, that's 10 years ago now. Oh my gosh.
Don't
time
mention
goes so
it, please.
quickly. 2014 was the first time I quit my corporate job to try and do a startup. And I failed. So 2 years later, I had to go back and get another job. So I went back to corporate again for another 2 years to replenish my savings. And then I quit again. So this is not unusual. Like, a lot of people I see saying, oh, I had to go back and get a job. Like, that happens pretty frequently. And sometimes you just have to do it. But I know my end goal is that I don't want to work in a corporate environment. It doesn't suit me at all. I don't regret my time in corporate because I learned a lot of stuff, but it's not really what works for me. So I went back into corporate, but I always knew that I would do a couple of years and then leave again. But the other thing I was going to say is, like, you asked Sandra, like, should you just quit and your product doesn't have traction? Look, you can, but the main thing is that you need to be pivoting really quickly. So if it doesn't have traction, you've got to like be okay emotionally to let it go. And the first product I did, I was not good. I was too emotionally attached and it wasn't working. It had no traction, but I kept going with it. That wasted a lot of time. And the other thing is, like, the first time I quit, I was kind of like playing startup. You know, I was going, oh, lean startup, MVP, do like a lean canvas and lots of Post-it notes. And I felt like, looking back, I was just playing startup founder, but I wasn't doing like startup founder, right? I was just enjoying having my freedom and going, yeah, I'm a startup founder. But in reality, I wasn't. I was just playing around, like, and that didn't end well. So, like I said, I had to go back to work. So for me, like, you could do it, but you have to be really self-aware and really self-conscious on like what is working and what isn't. But also don't pivot too quickly, because a lot of people, I feel like a lot of people try and do too many projects and they give up too quickly.
Yeah.
And, you know, there's the whole 12 startups in 12 months. Like, that shouldn't, personally, I think that shouldn't be the goal. Like, the goal is not to push out 12 startups. The goal is to find something that works for you and is actually building a business. It might mean that you stop after 3 and you go, actually, number 3 is really good. I'm going to keep going on that. The goal is not to say I hit 12. The goal is to find something that's working. And that's okay if you want to do 3 small businesses that add up to a sustainable business for yourself, or 1 focused product. That doesn't matter. It's more that the goal is not a number. The goal is what is working for you.
Yeah. And that's such a good point, because I feel like very similar. I don't like to see when people are building a bunch of different products, but none of the products are getting the attention they need or the work. But I also think somehow that every project you do kind of teaches you a lesson. And if you call projects a startup, it kind of leads to that moment where you are able to recognize, hey, this could be something good, or to recognize, oh, I need to let this go because it doesn't work. Like just how it happened to you, you know, like now looking back, you realize, oh, I was just playing this startup game, you know. But I have one question, just one question last on that one. But now when you look back and you said like, oh, I was just playing like this startup game and etc. Do you understand like which mistakes you actually made and how that you implemented that now with your projects and like business and everything? Because it's like so interesting to look back at these things.
Yeah. Hindsight's always good, isn't it? Like yes, I definitely sort of can see where I went wrong, and where I went wrong was that I didn't really care about the problem that I was working on. I had several businesses before Llama Life. I'll give you an example. One was a dog food business, and I care deeply about dogs, but I don't care about dog food. So there's like a subtlety there that I was just like, I am all in on this. Okay, so it was called Dog Dish, and it's not even a tech startup. It was called Dog Dish, and basically what it was human grade food for dogs, like quality human grade food delivered to your door based on your dog's weight, your dog's size, breed, all that stuff. Now, there are actually successful businesses around that concept. It's not, there's several. There's some in the UK, some in the US, there's some in Australia. And I know that it can become a successful business. The model has been proven somewhat, but it was not the right business for me because I absolutely am not like, I don't like cooking. And I don't know why I thought I could do this, but I was like, no, I love dogs. My mission is to help dogs be healthier, happier, you know, and because my dog had a lot of allergies that were food driven. So I felt like, oh, I'm really passionate about this, but it wasn't the right kind of passion. I had a love for animals, but I didn't feel passionate about the mechanics of the business. And the mechanics were like cooking, logistics, operations. I'm like, oh my gosh, this is so not me. So I stopped that because the problem didn't fit. It didn't quite fit. Like there was some love, but it wasn't quite the right fit. And then the other one I did was a social media app. And again, like I don't really like social media that much. And it was just like the wrong fit. But Llama Life is a really good fit because even if Llama Life, the product didn't work, I care so much about this problem. Like I will always work on this problem because it's so near and dear to me and I need a solution to this problem. So if Llama Life doesn't work, I will still work on the same problem, which is trying to help people focus, like trying to manage your attention and not just manage like time, but manage attention. Like that is the problem I'm trying to solve in whatever form it's going to be. So that's what motivates me. And that's where I went wrong before. I chose the wrong projects. And when you choose a product that you're really passionate about and you will not stop working on the problem, when you start to lose motivation for whatever reason, money or something else, like you find it again because you're so passionate about the problem. So that helped me a lot.
It keeps you,
Yeah, it helped me a lot. Yeah.
So regarding the 12 startups, I think that's very interesting that you said this because there are, you know, with this it's always survival bias. So you have like the 1% that make it, and then they broadcast their way of doing it, and then everyone thinks, oh yeah, I will do the same because it worked for them, then it's going to work for me. And I think you actually pointed out very well that if it worked for that person, it probably doesn't mean it's going to work for you because the circumstances are so different. Your skills, your life at that point, you know, everything comes together. And if you're gonna do 12 startups in a year, so you are not that type of person, you haven't done it before, there's a big chance you're heading for a burnout. There's a big chance you're just going to go into this blindly, think it's easier than it actually is because you saw it somewhere on Twitter and you know, if they can do it, I can do it. And at the end of it, you actually think this is not for me. And I think it's very sad if that happens. And we're gonna get into some posts where people say that, but there is something to the 12 startups. And I think if you're going to do that, what you're doing is not building the products, but you're solely focusing on building the audience around this image of yourself building the products. And
Sure.
that might work for you, but it has to be a deliberate choice, because then you have to be honest with yourself. And why am I building 12 products? It's because I want to show off that I can build 12 products.
Yeah.
I don't think you could do a sustainable business by doing 12 products. You need to do support. You need to do marketing. There just isn't time to do that. So you choose to work on your personal brand, and that might work for you. And then maybe the 12th one, because you've kind of built the audience along the way, maybe the 12th one is actually going to take off, and then you could switch to that and do it.
Yeah, I do agree with what you're saying. There's like one slight, so you're kind of building a different muscle and you're getting used to shipping stuff. You're probably learning along the way and you're building some kind of audience, but it also depends on the audience, right? Because what kind of audience are you building? And it's probably like an indie maker sort of audience, technical founder, dev sort of audience who are interested in doing the same kinds of things, which means that the product that will be successful needs to be something geared toward that audience. Like see, with Llama Life, my audience is not on Twitter. And, the stuff that I post about is geared towards dev, but I'm not trying to sell to devs. They're not my audience at all. But if you're doing 12 startups and you're building an audience around that, then you probably are going to need to build a product that is sort of a B2B, but small B2B or founder to founder kind of product. And if you're passionate about that, that's great. But, that it does restrict you to that kind of audience, I would say.
Yeah, that's the thing with build in public, where I think a lot of people get it wrong, because the whole idea is not to show off what you're building, but to build with your audience. And I think a lot of people come in and just show, yeah, I'm doing this and I'm doing that, but why are you here? Because, you're maybe making a business, I don't know, CRM, something. You should be on LinkedIn, perhaps. That's where you should build, and you should build with your audience.
Yeah. I see a lot of, I've actually seen a lot of indie makers do this quite successfully. Like they'll start off on Twitter, but then they realize that that's not the audience. And then they I've seen them go to LinkedIn because their audience is B2B and larger enterprise, not indie maker B2B. And that's worked well. And I'm always, whenever I see that, I'm like, that's so great. They actually realized this is not my audience and I'm going somewhere else. We've started doing this with Llama Life too. We've been going more on Instagram because our audience is really on Instagram. And I will say when we started off, the audience was kind of indie makers because a lot of devs gave me feedback that they liked the fact that they could put in tasks and work through their tasks. And so we do have people who are devs and want more focus and want to level up with the way they manage their work. But the primary audience is people with ADHD, and particularly women. Women have sort of gravitated to the product. Women with ADHD is kind of if you ask me to define an audience, like that is the audience. And most of that audience is on Instagram. So we kind of moved all the effort over to Instagram, but I still post on Twitter, but that's more personal. It's like personal accountability for me. And I have friends on Twitter. So
Please don't stop.
Yeah, I was going to stop. Oh my God, I was going to stop a few months ago. And I missed it. I don't know if it's somewhat of an addiction, but I did miss it. And I miss my friends making comments on it. So I came back. But Twitter is not like an acquisition channel for me at all. Like it's just kind of a personal, the journey's there. And I was like, I might as well continue because it's all the history's there. And I kind of like that it's all there in one place. If I ever want to go back and reminisce on stuff, I'm like, oh yeah, we did that.
So Marie, let's time travel. It's 2020. Oh God, that's 4 years ago now.
Years ago.
It's 2020. You've built and launched Llama Life, and you're growing it on Twitter, right? That was your first channel.
Yeah.
How did you do it? Give us a history lesson. Give us. Oh, that sounds so bad. Give us. Okay, it's not that long ago. But tell us, how did you go about getting the first user and getting the feedback? You've just mentioned you got a lot of good feedback. How was it then? And Could you still do this today? That's a follow-up. But tell us how it used to be.
Could we still do this today? That's a really good question.
Or would you still do it today?
Would we? Look, so the thing is, I was not very intentional about it when I first started. I see a lot of people, because the build in public movement was just starting around that time. It's different. It's a little different now. There's more people doing it. I honestly didn't set out to build in public. And the only reason, sorry, I'm just fidgeting with stuff, but I just dropped my fidget toy. I wasn't that intentional about it, to be honest. I was learning to code. It was COVID time. I was alone by myself. I was in lockdown and I was feeling very isolated. So I was learning to code and I made some demo. It was the first little demo that I made and I was very proud of it and I put it on Twitter. You could probably find this tweet. It is somewhere out there. And I said, learning to code or something. And I said, 4 months later or whatever, here's what I made. Here's my little thing. It was like a super basic to-do list. It didn't have any timers. It was just a list. And somebody wrote back almost immediately and they said, oh, what is this? I really want this. And I'm like, what? This is some crappy, I just put it out, had no intention for it to even become a business or a product. At that stage, I was like, I'm just going to make this thing. And someone was like, where can I get this? And I'm like, it's just some project thing I'm doing. But because I was alone and I was in lockdown, I was like, I'm just going to keep posting because I kind of like, the feedback and I like people writing, and so just felt like I was being more social. So I just kept doing that. And I wasn't thinking about impressions or likes or hitting keywords. I was just putting out my stuff and consistently. That's a key thing. Like, people lose motivation and steam when they don't get traction with, likes and all that. But I was like, I don't really care because I'm just doing this because I want to interact with some people because I'm so lonely in lockdown. And so I did that. And then I just kept doing it. And then I started to find other makers and I was like, what's this build in public thing? And, who are these people? And then at the time I was less than 5,000 followers. And there was a group of people that I'd chatted to and we were all trying to hit 5,000 followers. So we created this little club. We were like, hey, we're the 5,000 club or something on Slack. So we went off Twitter. And we were all trying to get to 5,000. And that kind of motivated me as well, because I just need this external motivation because I think it's partly ADHD, but I need some external motivation as well. And that helped me. I'm very competitive. So I was like, who's going to get to 5,000? So that's kind of that's how it started. And Twitter was definitely how I got my first customer. And then I started thinking I was making a product for indie makers, as we all kind of do. And then I realized shortly after, this is not for indie makers. That could be a secondary audience, but the main audience, surprise, surprise, is actually people like me who want to manage their focus and stuff. And so I was like, okay, well, it took me a while to be true to that. But then I was like, you know what? It makes 100% sense. Of course it's for people like me, because every feature I'm putting in is for me. So of course it's going to be like that. So now we've just leaned into that.
It's so interesting with the group because I think what everyone goes through doing build in public for long enough is finding this group, and it just happens somehow naturally. You don't look for the group, you tend to interact with the same people, and then at some point someone makes a Slack or a group chat or a Telegram or and all of a sudden those people very well, and then you become friends, and I bet you still keep in touch with most of those people, don't you?
Yeah, definitely. The Slack group's dead, so it does tend to, this is what always happens, right? The group gets a little bit too large and then it just falls apart. I think the ideal group size is maybe 8 to 10 people, maybe even less. But as soon as you start going over 10, there's less accountability to post, because people think, other people will post. This is human nature. I'm not describing anything unique, but this always happens when a group gets too large. I've been part of a few, and then you get people dropping off or not being as active, and then it kind of falls apart after a certain time. But the group was great It served its purpose. I still keep in touch with folks from the group, but just not very often. Just every now and again, I might see a tweet and be like, hey, like, well done, whatever. And sometimes we help each other with questions, but it's definitely not as frequent as it used to be.
Do you think those people have helped you with your growth, somehow directly or indirectly?
Yeah, for sure. Because like they might retweet something, there's kind of you kind of help each other out, which again is kind of a human nature thing. Like maybe some people get really lucky and they just start growing their account. But I think what usually happens is you have a few friends and you find a few friends and then you start promoting each other's stuff. And you can see it, even if you look at Twitter, I'm sure you guys have seen, there's little groups, and even if they're not explicitly said, like you can see certain people retweeting other people's content. And
like the Dan Kulkov, he's like totally.
Oh yeah, there's definitely a group around him and Mark and all those guys, right? And there's nothing wrong with that. That's just, if we weren't on Twitter and we were physically interacting in real life, it's the same thing. Like we would have little groups and people would sort of go, hey, check out my friend's product, whatever. It's pretty natural.
Yeah, exactly. It's natural. And that's, I think, the fun part, because once you have this little group, then Twitter, or now X, oh my God, I can't believe
I can't call it X. I just call it Twitter. I still call it Twitter.
It's so stupid. So anyway, this is where it becomes fun, because you can actually, have your inside jokes and your little group, and you kind of go on in the replies of a tweet. What do you call it? A tweet? Or this is so stupid.
Post?
On a post. Yeah. Jesus. It was such a good brand.
It was such a good brand. Oh my God. It's destroyed. X is
gone.
Yeah.
It's gone.
That's a whole nother topic, but yeah.
Let's not ruin the. Yeah.
Doesn't matter
exactly.
it doesn't matter what we say about it. It's not going to change anything or influence, what they do. But yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, it's fun when that happens, and I think if you do it for long enough, it's bound to happen. I really don't know. In the past 2 weeks, though, it is a big question mark if today, if you start, if that's still an option. I actually have this interesting post by...
Oh, yeah, I saw John's... Yeah, I saw this post.
By John Rush, where he's saying that, first of all, build in public is dead. That's a pretty strong statement. And then that Twitter was the key reason why it flourished. And do you agree with that? Do you think if Twitter changed the algorithm and we don't have the same reach for, the post that you've mentioned, I've built this thing, what do you think about it? And then someone comes in and says, oh, I want this right now. Yeah. If that's not happening anymore, is there still a way to build in public today?
I think there still is. Like, it's still a community, like it's still a platform, but the fact that the algorithm keeps changing, I think is what's getting people to make these kinds of comments. I guess just for some context, that original post where someone said, I want this, it's not like it got a lot of impressions. It just, it was very small reach if you're comparing it to now. I think what's getting people a bit kind of making statements like this is because the algorithm is changing. So something that they were doing in the past is not working anymore. And I've definitely felt that too. I've definitely felt like my tweets don't get as much reach as before. And I definitely felt like, oh, it's not working anymore at some point. But now I'm kind of like, you know what? I'm just going to post whatever I want. And I'm not going to post keywords. And I know not everyone can do that because they're using Twitter as an acquisition channel, but Twitter is not an acquisition channel for me. So I don't feel as much pressure. And I'm like, I just want to post about what I want to post about. If you make it interesting, then I suppose it deserves to get some reach. But maybe the stuff that people are posting about is not as interesting as before. I definitely would say people are just kind of recycling stuff. I see the same topics or themes all the time, and it got really boring a few months back, which is when I said I'm going to quit Twitter. I just kept seeing like nothing original, and I'm like, this is clearly written to get some kind of reach or traction or virality. And I'm like, I don't want to read those tweets. I just want authentic people building stuff, and I want to follow your journey building something. I don't want to follow a tweet that is designed to work the algorithm. But
Yeah, and
I
you can
totally
definitely.
see, yeah, because then it all gets really boring. And then the whole community, the whole thing, that's when you go, yeah, it's dead because everyone's just posting boring stuff to work the algorithm. There's no, you know, authenticity. It's just they're trying to get reach. So I think the algorithm has not been good for people because it's making us behave in ways that it just feels fake, you know. I don't know what the solution is because, you know, clearly the algorithm is designed to do something. It's designed to show people things that are interesting, but we might not agree with everything it's showing us. Somebody made a really interesting comment the other day. I can't remember who it was. It might have been Dimmy. I think he said something like, if we surrender ourselves to the algorithm, we're all going to end up just posting porn.
It's yeah.
Was it Dimmy?
Yeah.
Or...
He
He's
said
so,
this a
Sandra's
few
laughing.
times.
He's so right, though. That's, of course, that's going to happen, you know.
I don't know if you'll still be here when we get to that, but at the end of the show, we have exactly this, and it's very funny that some people, I will not ruin this surprise. We have many surprises today. I have a surprise in the fridge too, by the way. Anyway, we're gonna have a very interesting take on building in public today and somewhat posting types of porn to get the reach and mixing those two together. And I think it's not good when you get to the point where you bend to the algorithm and you change your tone and the way you are. You're just it's probably gonna get to you at some point because not all of us are like that. Like, we're not comfortable posting those types of things, you know. And
the other factor is, what audience are you attracting with that? It's not the right audience. You're going to attract is that the audience that you want to build a relationship with? Is that the audience that you might potentially sell to? Because you will get reach. If you try and play the algorithm, you will get reach. You will get more followers, but are they the right followers? Like, is that the right audience? Because we all know that it's not about the number of followers, it's about the quality of followers, and you can have 5,000. I mean, there is a certain amount that you kind of want to break over before it becomes good. I'd say 5,000 is like a really good, when you hit 5,000, that's enough. If you have 5,000 really good followers, that's enough. You don't need 30,000. You could have 30,000 really low quality followers, bots, and because they're just following the algorithm, but you don't need that. You just need 5,000 like really good friends, followers, whatever. There's some book about that, I think. I can't remember what it is, but someone has already, this is not an original idea. This is like, everybody knows, like, it's about quality.
Yeah, I actually have some thoughts because the follower used to mean a lot more, I think, maybe 1 year ago or even 6 months ago. Yeah. And it seems like followers don't mean, they don't have the same weight anymore.
Yeah.
And that's probably something that we got from TikTok. But you're active on Instagram. How is it there? Do followers seem like they make a difference there? And because that's an acquisition channel for you. And I suppose you're keeping a close eye on followers and how that works for the Llama Life account, right? Because that's, you have let's say a more professional appearance there than on Twitter. I mean, I'm not saying you're not professional, but it.
What are you saying, Dan?
Oh my God, I put myself into a corner here. But it is your raw ideas. It's more informal on Twitter, right? That's also the cool part about it because people are a lot more honest. But yeah, on Instagram, how does it feel there, and how does it feel to have this? I wouldn't say corporate tone because it's still like you really have a nice branding and kind of laid back tone, but it is a company tone. It's not yourself.
Company tone, yeah. I was going to say it's more like an official tone, right? You look at it and you go, oh yeah, this is a company. It's yeah, and I'm sort of glad. I'm glad that comes across because we do put effort into it to try and make sure there's a variety of content and keep the branding consistent and all that stuff. Instagram is it's still ruled by an algorithm, and that algorithm it does keep changing as well. And we find that it's very hit or miss, because sometimes we post stuff and we're like, this is so crap. And then it does okay. And then we'll post other stuff that we put like a lot of effort in and it doesn't do well. And we've also worked with influencers and partners on Instagram. And we've also found like it doesn't matter how many followers they have, because sometimes we'll work with someone with a very low follower count, but their content does well. And then other times we've actually paid for content from influencers that have a lot of like a really big account, and we put like a lot of money on it. I'll put it in context. It's still a lot of money for us, like maybe $1,000, right? Which is a lot. I think it's a lot of money to do one post, but apparently that's the going rate. When you have like over a certain amount of followers, doesn't mean it does well. Like we haven't got a return on that. And sometimes we spend $200 and it's great. Like, so it's still very hit or miss, still very unknown. We haven't cracked it. I'd be lying to say if we knew. Like, it's just, we're still experimenting a lot. And in fact, we're actually going to be experimenting more on Reddit than Insta. Like, Insta's still going to be a channel for us, but we're going on to Reddit. And the reason we're going on to Reddit is because Reddit is, well, it's more text-based than Instagram, and Reddit shows up for SEO. Like Reddit, like if you're searching for something like #1 focus tool for ADHD or just any of those keywords, sometimes Reddit posts are coming up. You know, they're the ones at the top of the search. And so we're like, we need to be on Reddit. And the thing with Llama Life is we get so many emails from customers just telling us they love stuff. And we would really love it if people actually put it on Reddit versus emailing us. Because emailing us is great, but it's all behind closed doors. No one else sees that except us. We get heaps of emails, which is another reason why I knew like Llama Life, it deserves to be a product, because people they write to us telling us all this stuff. But I'm like, I wish they would put it on Reddit or something, or some forum. And I still think it's better than doing like a Discord server or a Slack group for Llama Life. Reddit is a forum. It's just a public forum, but it's searchable. It comes up on SEO, and we're like, we just decided this last week, but we're going to be going all in on Reddit.
Just put all the content you already have from the emails on Reddit yourself.
Oh, the emails. So what we're going to do is we're actually going to take, we'll obviously remove names and personal identifiable stuff, but we're just going to take an email and say like, this person had this challenge, because there's themes, there's always a theme, and like, does anyone else have, issues with this? Build community around it. Maybe suggest how Llama Life can help with this problem, that kind of thing. So yeah, we're going to be doing that, and we're going to take all the articles that we have on Intercom, because we have an Intercom help guide, but that's also not searchable by Google. We're going to put those questions and all the FAQs we have on Reddit. And so hopefully that gets it a little bit more public as well. And all the stuff that you're talking about is kind of, the whole other side of like marketing and community building. And we put like a lot of effort in that versus, we still do the dev stuff. We have to, but we are definitely, like, my first hire was like a marketing community partnerships, customer service. Like, she does a lot of different things, but definitely she's not a dev, basically. That's my first hire, was like that type of role.
Yeah, it's super interesting.
Oh, sorry.
I just wanted to ask, because it's like a different type of the content, and I wanted to ask like how much time or effort you put into educating about the problem and then putting the solution in that, and then because I feel like there is an aspect with your product where there needs to be an education process before.
100%. Yeah, 100%. So we do a lot of this education in the onboarding sequence. So I 100% agree with what you said. Like, you can't just put a tool out, because a tool is just a tool, right? And if someone doesn't know how to use the tool, they're not going to make anything from that. Like, if you just go give like a baby a hammer, you're like, they're just going to destroy stuff. They're not going to make a nice table out of that. Like, you have to teach them how to use it. And it's not just teaching them about how to use the tool. It's like giving them an approach or a system that the tool will fit into. like say you've got a productivity system and Llama Life is a tool within that system. So you have to educate how to use your tool, but you have to also give them like, here's your system. Like, okay, so a system with to-do lists might be, all right, I get all these things coming in. As soon as I get a new thing to do, I will put it in like, say I've got a to-do list app, like my inbox. And then so I don't lose the thought, straight away, just chuck it in an inbox folder. And then later I'll go, okay, well, where does that fit in? Is that urgent? Do I have to do it right now? Is it like a personal thing or a work thing? And then is there a due date? And then you sort that out later. Then you figure out what is most important today and you make a list and then you prioritize it, whatever. That's like the system, and Llama Life will fit into that system. So we do our education through email onboarding sequence and give people some ideas. The thing is, everybody's different, so we are not forcing an idea on, but we say, hey, here's some, I actually say, here's my system, and I tell them my system. I don't always stick to my system, but here's my ideal system that I would like to stick to. And then it just makes them think, okay, well, maybe I could do something like this, and then I go, well, here's how Llama Life fits in to that.
Yeah.
For
people that are listening, watching us, I have to say that your emails are one of the best emails I read.
Oh,
it's so personalized. It's so lovely. So I don't want to bring marketers that just want to check out the emails, but there are marketers.
Get our conversion rate like down. No, check it out if you want. It's fine.
It's absolutely brilliant. Yeah.
Yeah, cool. Thanks.
Yeah, maybe they try the product anyway because it's such an awesome product. Yeah. Maybe they stick around.
Right? Who knows?
Yeah.
Or maybe I'll just post them online or something and people can just have a look. But yes, it was personal because, but the thing is, like, it's almost like I don't even need to come up with the material because it's so personal that it's like, well, here's my story. Here's why I made it. Basically, what the email is, it's like an introduction and it goes, hey, I'm Marie. I made Llama Life because of this. Here's all the problems I've got. And, you know, ideally this person will have the same problems because that's why they're checking out the product. And then I think it's, and I say something like, I'd love to learn more about you. Here's some stuff about me. I'd love to know about you. People write back a lot, like crazy amount. And I think this is kind of a good learning as well, that it doesn't all have to be like about numbers and, you know, MRR and stuff like that. Because in the beginning, if you get a lot of feedback like this, that might be enough to continue your product. Like that was how it worked with me, because Llama Life was free at the beginning. And I knew there was something there because of this response. And when people write back, I'm not kidding, they're not writing like one sentence. They're writing like an essay. They're telling me like their life story. I've never had this before, ever. Like my other products, no one wrote to me. No one. But suddenly I was getting overwhelmed by emails and like really overwhelmed. I'm not good with that. Like I see a block of text and I'm like, oh, I can't read that. I'm not very good at reading. So I'm like, oh, I can't read that. Like, and so I will put it off and then I'll have like 100 emails I have to respond to. And I'm like, oh my God. But that's how I knew there's something special. There's something worth continuing. This does not mean that Llama Life will be like massive successful later, but it means that there's enough to keep going for now. And I'm just looking for like a little sign, you know, that there's something there. And the emails was a thing. It was not like, oh, I made it to this much MRR. That wasn't important at the beginning because I didn't even have pricing. I didn't have Stripe hooked up. It was more like people having like some major reaction to this, you know, emotional reaction, writing essays. You know, first of all, no one writes back. Second of all, they're writing back like normally no one writes back. And second of all, no, people write back one word and I was getting like a lot of text.
Yeah, that's when you know you've really hit something good, because people to take time out of their busy day to actually write this is just such a crazy thing to think about. Yeah.
I don't think I've ever even written to somebody about their product. Like unless it was a bug or something, they're not asking for
Yeah,
anything.
exactly. You're usually right when you're angry and you want something fixed.
Exactly. Or like you need them to do something like, can you change my login details or whatever? But they're not asking for anything. They're just saying, thank you. And here's my life story. And then I was like, I don't know what is going on here, but there's something going on.
Yeah. Very interesting point that you made with the accounts. Wait, wrong screen. So it's not the first time that I hear someone say when you actually start paying for influencers and so on, that it's better to sponsor a fresh account. So we have David Park.
I know
he
David,
wrote this huge post on what worked for him.
Yep.
And then he says the exact same thing, that he would sponsor a new account versus a YouTuber with 1 million subs if they had similar views. And I think this is the algorithms today maybe work a little bit like that. And it's also why I asked, what do you think about followers? Because perhaps followers don't mean the same thing anymore. And what it means is this is going to be a lot more expensive for you if you're going to work with that person.
Yeah. It keeps changing, doesn't it? Like I think the main thing is that we don't do this enough. We're trying really hard to do this now. Is that the main thing is that when you do an experiment, you must make a decision to keep going or to change. And I feel like it's easier said than done, because we're all kind of, there's not enough time in the day and everyone's trying to move quickly, but you've got to stop and pause and go, what we just did, we put like, $100 on Instagram, whatever. Was that worth it? Why not? Should we do it again with someone else, different content, different time of day? Like, what are we actually changing? It requires a lot of discipline. And I see someone like David, he's really great at marketing, and but he's very disciplined, because when he runs experiments, he's doing it properly. He's not just going, oh yeah, we did that. He's going, should I do it again? What worked? What didn't? Let me try this different account. If you read that post, it's kind of got like, it's got stuff like, oh, we made all this content for TikTok, and then we figured out there was like a theme that really worked. So we just picked that theme, and then we made 10 more pieces of content, but with that same formula and theme. So he's digging and digging and digging to try and figure out like what's working, and then he doubles down on it. And we all know this in theory. We all know that that's how you do it. Same with Facebook ads. That's how you do it. You do 5 ads, you pick the winner, you put more money on the winner, you keep going, you change the title, you change the pictures, you figure out which one. But who actually does that in real life? David does. I would be the first to admit sometimes I'm not disciplined about it, but David is very disciplined. David's great. So David and I actually went through the same accelerator at the same time, and he's way ahead. Like, he's taken off. But I think part of it is because he's very disciplined. He's a great guy. And that's a whole nother topic, but we went through an accelerator together, and I think accelerators are really great. It's a really great way for even indie makers to have some discipline, and like, you have to show up every week. You have to do demo day. You have to there's some seriousness behind that, right? Where you're not playing around because there's actual money involved. Someone's giving you money to do the accelerator. I really needed that. I needed it more than I thought I needed it, but it made me it lit a fire under me, because I was like, holy crap, I just took money from this accelerator and now I have to perform,
That's an excellent introduction for the question I had. I wanted to know more of that transition from bootstrapping or building bootstrapping. Okay, now we need money, or we need to raise money. How that happened?
That happened because I was building in public, and this was more intentional building in public, not this first time where I randomly put some stuff up. So this is where the luck comes in. A little bit of luck comes in too. But look, the funny thing about luck is you have to make your own luck. And if you're not actually in the game, then your luck's going to be crap. You have to do more stuff, and then somehow there's this thing, I didn't make this up, someone else said this, but people talk about your surface area for luck, right? So everybody can have a little bit of luck, but you can increase the surface area for luck to strike by showing up every day, by tweeting, by building relationships. Like if you just sit alone in the dark at home and, you know, you're not going to have much luck. It's not going to magically happen. You have to get out there so you can increase the surface area for that luck to strike. That's kind of what I was doing unintentionally. I wasn't like thinking about this mindset back then. But what happened was I put a tweet out. Llama Life had a lifetime deal that was going away. And you can't just take a lifetime deal away. You have to say, I'm going to take this away, guys, at midnight on whatever day. And it's out there, official. If you miss it, not my fault, because I put this tweet out. So it's on record. It's going away. I put this tweet out. I took 1 minute to write this tweet. And then I closed Twitter and I was like, whatever. And I kept working. And then my phone's going off and I'm like, what's going on? Like everyone's sharing this tweet. And I'm like, okay, that's so funny because I put zero effort into this tweet and I just closed Twitter. I wasn't even monitoring it. And then it went, viral. And so what happened was somebody, someone who runs the Accelerator program saw the tweet. He's like a scout and he tried Llama Life and he really liked it. So then he took it to the Accelerator program and said, hey, look, check out this product. This girl's like doing all this stuff and she's a solo founder, whatever. And then he DM'd me and he was like, hey, have you ever thought about joining an accelerator? And I didn't even reply to him because you know how DMs are like a total mess, right? I was just like, whatever. Like I was swamped because I was a single founder at the time and my database was crashing because everyone was trying to get the lifetime deal. And my database could only handle like 100 simultaneous connections. And I was just like, and I was a new dev as well.
Luxury problems, though. Luxury problems.
Like,
the people can't buy enough of this product.
Yeah. And
please stop.
But this was like 4 a.m. for me. And I'm like, oh my God. And I was like, what do I do? I had no idea. I don't even know what I'm doing. And so then I figured out how to upgrade my plan. And like, I figured out the problem was the simultaneous connections because people just kept messaging me like, I can't purchase. And I'm like, yeah, a really great problem to have. But at the same time, I'm like, I don't know what to do. And anyway, so I didn't reply to this scout for a few days. And then I was like, okay, let me check. I saw his DM. I'm like, oh, whatever. And then I went back and I'm like, okay, yeah, maybe. Let's have a chat. So then we had a chat. And it turns out he is a scout for, do you know Jason Calacanis? He's he's pretty well-known sort of angel investor. So he invested in Uber and Calm.com and like Robinhood. And he has a podcast called the All In Podcast. He runs all these. He's got like a lot of media stuff. And anyway, it's his accelerator. And so I applied, I interviewed and ended up getting in. And this is the same accelerator as David. We were in the same cohort, 7 of us. And that really, I actually wasn't going to raise money. I was trying to bootstrap it, but raising money worked in my case because I needed to, well, first of all, it had some traction, right? You can't raise money without traction. Mm-hmm. You can't just decide I want to raise money. You have to have something. But I couldn't do it on my own, but I didn't have enough to hire somebody to help.
Yeah.
So the money that I raised was to hire my first employee. So we'd go from 1 to 2. And because I was in my head, I'm like, I don't think I could do it by myself. And so then we had 2 and then I hired a third. So we're 3 people now, me and 2 others. And so that's where the money went. We have not spent much on marketing. It's all about like hiring people.
Yeah.
And so that worked out well.
I have a
Llama
question.
Life. Yeah.
When this happened, did anything change in the way you build the product? Did you all of a sudden have to, answer, report, or did you just keep doing this? Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So, okay. So there's a few layers to this. So tell me if I'm wrong. I think where you're going is like, do I still get to make all the decisions? Yeah,
yes.
I do. Yeah. I make all the decisions. So everybody's situation's different though, because I've heard some other stories where someone's taken money and then now they've lost control of their product. And there's, Uber's a famous case of they raise money from Benchmark Capital, and there's like a mini series out. There's a mini series called Super Pumped, really good series. And in that series, they actually show how Travis Kalanick is frustrated because he's losing control of the decisions and getting pushed into doing certain things. That did not happen with me. I make all the decisions, 100%. We do get like feedback or suggestions from the investors, but nobody's forced us to do anything. I do have to write. Actually, I need to do it after this, but I need to write a monthly investor report. And so today is the 2nd of June in Melbourne. So at the end of every month. So I have to write May's report. And I really hate doing that. I'll be the first. I will be the first to say I really hate doing that.
Sandra, it's her favorite thing to do those reports. So it's so fun. Yeah, I think she does it very. Yeah, do you do it every week because it's so fun, Sandra? Or
yeah, I do it every week. I every Friday. It's very interesting.
Every Friday.
We have big reports and then there's small reports. And, with the Finns, they are very invested in their money and hoping for next Nokia. And I'm just here crying. But your story is very similar to mine.
Yeah.
And I think it's very interesting to listen to this. I don't know about you. It seems like you're still, getting that control. But for me, I feel like at least the time I had before is kind of like moving more into these reports, and explanations, and that was like this big change for me, at least, where I don't want to say the fun part. It's kind of like let go, and now you are kind of pressured into proving or so it's. I wouldn't say like the control. Okay, control kind of is there, but this like approach or the way of thinking has at least totally changed for me.
How long has it been since you took investment?
So we went again through very similar, first with Antler in Sweden through the program, and then raised money. They raised money from them, and that was quite like, I would say, relaxing. Even it had also a lot of influence on us with introduction and etc. But then when we raised the second time, we went into this like full-on process, and it's been like a few months now. Okay. So
the reason I ask was when I first raised the money, there was definitely more pressure and focus like just after the raise, like a few months after. But over time, like, because they can see, this is my guess, is like they can see that we're doing stuff, and building public helps because they can see it on Twitter or everything. Like, they know that what we're working on and stuff. Even before the monthly report, there's stuff during the month, every day sort of posted.
Oh, that's so interesting. So
that's part of the reason I'm still.
Do you send them link to your tweets in the email and be like,
100%.
This is it?
Oh,
this is a super awesome tip, though. That's awesome.
Yeah. We got feedback as well from the investors that they really like the links. So the reason I'm building on Twitter is because it keeps me accountable. I like the social aspect, but then it provides the timeline. And so when I come to write the investor report, what I do is I have to do all the financials and stuff and get all the books. This is the bit I hate. I have to get all the books in order, reconcile all the transactions, figure out like what the balance is and all that stuff, the burn rate, all this stuff, the runway left.
I think you and Sandra need to talk about some things. You can have a separate talk.
It full on stresses me out doing that stuff. But then the second thing I do is I go on Twitter, and then I open my own profile and I look through what I posted about during the month, and then I open like 20 tabs. I just like command click on all my posts. And then I go, okay, cool. We always have to divide the investor report up into product, one section for product, one for marketing, and one for like the team, about the team. So I go through and I go, okay, here's the marketing stuff I did, here's the product stuff. And then I also chat with the girl I work with, and I'm like, send me all your links. Like, what do we do on Instagram? Who do we work with? Like, can you just send me the link to the content? And so our investor report is very short, like bullet points, but each bullet point almost always has a link to a tweet. And yeah, so that's definitely like a record of stuff. You know, once a feature is halfway being built, you could go, oh, here is, you know, I do this a lot, like, here's what I'm designing or whatever, tweet. I'll link to that tweet and go, we're working on this feature. Here's the work in progress. You can go see it on Twitter. And I always say, you know, till next time, whatever, till the next month. But in the meantime, if you want to keep up to date, you can check out our Twitter feed. And I think that works really well.
I might introduce that. That's a really good advice.
Yeah.
My investors do love Google Sheet. But,
Google Sheet? Okay.
Oh, yeah, they are big on it. But I might introduce this to them and just like, hey, you can check things out here as well.
Yeah. I also just post like I go into ChartMogul. Do you use ChartMogul? I love it. Just some whatever analytic tool
Good
you
name.
use.
Good name.
It's a good name. Yeah. But I have like I'll just go in and I'll grab like I'll do a screenshot of like the revenue chart or whatever, and I'll just be like, put that in. My report is an email, so I just put a screenshot of. It's consistent every month. It's the same template I use, like same points. But there's one screenshot of like the revenue MRR and stuff. Put that in, and yeah, I really don't like doing it. But I will say, whenever I finish doing it, I'm always like, man, we did a lot of stuff. I'm like, good on us. Like, we did so much last month, and, you know, we learned this, and because I always try and say what we learned as well. Can't just do stuff, got to learn. And so we're like, we did this, here's what we learned, or, you know, we're continuing doing this because we think it's working, or we stopped this because it's not working. But it makes me feel good after I write it, not while I'm writing it, because I don't like the admin of it. But yeah, you know what I mean.
I have also, there is a situation where I can see Dan's shirt, and I need more context to it.
All right, so
is this a surprise then?
You know, one of the best gifts that Sentry gave to me is called session recording. It basically records the errors, right? So like exactly screen recording, like you get in data analytics tools, you get those for errors. So you can actually see when something goes wrong, what they were doing beforehand. And I can't explain to you how good this is. It's so crazy. So I thought, okay, today I do something for Sentry because they did this for me. And I will do a recording on my own, a session recording, if you will, with the Sentry t-shirt. So I will represent the brand because it's so awesome. So that's the story. That's it. I'm such a fanboy right now of Sentry, and I'm in love with their product. I think someone asked me, like, oh, do you think indie makers should put this, like, it kind of seems like a big enterprise, whatever. Like, the first day I put this on, I already found so many issues. And, you know, this feeling when you get an email from a user and they're saying, oh, this thing's not working. And 5 minutes later, you reply, we've already fixed the issue. Because I saw it in Sentry. It's just, I'm in love with it. Anyway, you know, that's the t-shirt.
I love the t-shirt. I actually didn't realize that it said Sentry until Sandra said, look at Dan's t-shirt, but it's a really cool t-shirt.
Thank you.
We actually need something like Sentry. We're at the point where people are saying, like, it's my favorite email. It's like, hey, it's not working. I'm like, what's not working? Can you please tell me what you did? So we always reply back, can you tell us what you did just before it crashed? Like, because as usual, we can't replicate it. We're like, I don't know what you're doing. It's working for me. And so we get these things where people just go, oh, it's not working. I'm like, okay, I really wish I had something like what you just said where I could just go and have a look at, I don't even have to ask them.
You need to try
it. We'll try. Yeah. We're definitely at that point because at the beginning we were kind of like, oh, we don't need it. But I think we definitely need it now because we're getting too many things where the worst thing actually is we look at the crash report and we're like, oh, pretty good. Not many crashes. But that's not...
Looks good. Yeah.
Looks good, but that's not the thing because like crash means like full on white screen, the app closed. That's a crash. But then there's like bugs that we don't know about that are hidden and people go, it doesn't work. It's not crashing, but this didn't work. I'm like, oh no, like that. Yeah. I'm not
Yeah.
doing this as a plug, but I think we genuinely need Sentry or something
Yeah.
similar.
Honestly, I know what you're saying, and just this fact that you don't have to ask the embarrassing question of what exactly were you doing, because we have no idea how you got to this crash, and you kind of and then sometimes you jump on a call with users. It's not actually that often because it takes a lot of time, and then the user maybe is not super technical, and then you kind of have to, oh, can you click this, can you, or if it's a web app, can you open the dev tools, which is such a so yeah, definitely recommend trying this. I think you have a point. Like in the beginning, when you know the app, you know like all of it, then you immediately know, okay, this error means this thing broke, so no problem. But a bit later on, when you add these features and you have this part that you haven't touched for a year maybe, and you make a big change, because that was what did it for me. I made a big change and something was failing and I had no idea what. And I tried to figure it out and I couldn't. And then the customers were emailing. And then I thought, this is embarrassing because I actually don't know what's going on. I see there's an error. I don't know how to reproduce it. So I added Sentry at that moment. And I was able to figure it out shortly after and saw the screen recording. And I was like, oh, right, that's what they're doing. Because they show an exception in the backend in the error, and then they showed the screen recording of the UI, which is such a crazy concept. Yeah, they kind of tie in the UI and the backend. They show, okay, this is what the user was clicking on, and this is the backend error that you got. It's bonkers. It's just okay. Enough about Sentry. I love this product.
Because you know something weird that happened with us recently. This was so unexpected. Did not expect this at all. So basically, we have Llama Life is like a web product, so it works in browser and desktop, and then we have an iOS app now. And the web product was really like pretty stable, I think. Like we didn't get a lot of errors and stuff. Worked well for most people. And I was like, great, the iOS app is just going to be an addition to that and be great. What happened was we basically had some bugs in the iOS app that were affecting the web app because they were both syncing to the same database. And suddenly the web products kind of gone to, I was about to swear, but I won't swear just in case we can't do it. But like the web products suddenly like not as good as it was because iOS app is kind of messing with it, and they were syncing and like overriding each other and like basically messed up stuff. And I was like, oh my gosh, I did not account for this. I did not think that, I thought the iOS app was going to really just take things to the next level, but it's caused so many issues because it's actually making a good product that we had worse. And now we have to go fix that. So last week we kind of had this realization. So I'm fixing that now because I work on the web product, and the other guy that I have, his name's Gear, he works on the iOS app. We kind of split it like that. And I'm like, my product's good. You know, mine's working.
It's your
and yours has got bugs. You got bugs. But it's not that. It's actually
not my problem.
It did have bugs, but then they were fixed. And then we're like, okay, so the customers started telling us all this weird stuff. And we're like, that's weird. If I just use the web product, it's great. If I just use the iOS app, it's great. But they're swapping between them. And then I was like, oh my gosh. So I tried it myself the other day. And I'm like, okay, yeah, if I swap between them like this, and there's a hard close and a soft close with iOS apps, and they do different things, and we're like, okay, this is where it's going wrong and they're also leaving the web app open. There's like a certain combination of things. And because they're leaving it open, it's not refreshing, and it's like a web product, and we're like, oh my God, we just made a good product worse.
Are you considering to actually shut off the web part then, or something like that, or it's
shut
not
it off,
possible?
you mean?
Yes, and just have the iOS app so you get rid of this complexity.
No, because I think the web products, the UI is a little bit different, and you can really, I mean, there is some merit to what you said, because you could make an iOS app available on Mac as like a Mac app, but
yeah,
then
exactly.
But then the Windows users won't have access to it. And you could have a Windows user that wants to use an iOS app as well. And whatever we do, there's always going to be someone who's like I want it there still, you know. So I
Yeah,
think
it's
the
a
browser,
it's a
yeah,
harsh decision, and then you're gonna cut someone off. Maybe they
yeah,
have a lifetime deal as well, or something like that. And
yeah. And there's, oh my gosh, there's, well, we could keep going if you guys want to keep going, but there's all this stuff
yeah, I
about
was about to
lifetime
ask.
deals as well.
We went overtime, and we don't want to take more. But I could do this like for weeks. Marie, it's
Yeah.
so nice to talk to you. So if you have more time, we
I'm
can just
good
stay
if you
in.
guys want to.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I want to read some comments. So first of all, Surav, he really liked your surface area of luck quote that
Oh,
you also
are these
borrowed
live?
from.
Okay, cool. Live comments. Great.
Yeah, yeah. And there are some comments. I don't know how I can show them to you, but I can wait. I can share my screen. That's the best I can do.
Is this on Twitter? I'm looking at Twitter now. Let's see.
It is on Twitter, but it is kind of. Wait a second. Wait a second. So if you open the broadcast.
Oh my God, are we going to cause like a infinite loop?
No. Okay. That was a bad idea. Wait. No, we're figuring this out, Marie. We're professionals here.
Yeah.
So
This means it's truly live, right? It's truly this proves that it's truly live.
Wait a second. I got it here. So the comments, they kind of disappear somewhere. So if I close this tab, it's gone. So this was one. Philippe, he says, great show. Love Marie's sharing and kudos for the video setup. Thank you, Philippe. And he likes Super Pumped. And then he went for breakfast. So maybe it's not that good.
I mean, you could brought
I'm
us to
getting this on
breakfast.
YouTube later. I cannot take notes right now.
Yes, for sure. It will be on YouTube. Amazing session. Vika says, fully packed with knowledge bombs. So Marie, have you ever been accused of placing knowledge bombs?
I don't know.
Yes, he loves it. And then he says mobile is hell.
Oh
Well,
yeah. Oh my gosh, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So that is probably echoing some of your sentiments there.
Yeah.
But yeah, if you're up for it, I think we can jump to the dark topic. How much time do you have left?
I'm good. It's Sunday night for me, so I don't actually have any other plans. Like
Oh, don't say that
good.
because we're gonna keep you for a while.
I might have to go get a glass of wine, you know.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
right in the
You know-
future, so.
Okay, I shouldn't really say this. Like, but I actually code better when I've had like one glass. If I have,
Yeah.
So if I have one glass, I think sometimes I solve like crazy problems. But then if I have two, then I start introducing bugs.
I'm
If I
just
have
having
3,
fun.
4, then I might just delete the whole GitHub repo. Like,
So diminishing returns after the.
it's like an inverse. But sometimes, maybe it's just that I need a break, you know, and then I'll have a break, and then I'll come back and be like, oh yeah, I solved the problem while, you know, taking a break.
They say with one drink, you actually do get a bit more creative. But then, of course, you start to lose focus with the other drink, or you're kind of not that interested in things, and you're
Diminishing returns.
There
But I
is a
didn't
movie
put
about-
it. Did you see my photo? I put like a wine glass near my laptop.
I saw that. Yes.
But I didn't have Dan's bravery of like putting the glass
On top of
on
the laptop, yeah.
like on the keys, because like some of those pictures that you put on Twitter, I think that was a few months ago, with your coffee, I'm like, this is so gonna end in tears. And then maybe a few
It
days
did.
after, it did, and there was coffee all over your machine. I'm like, you know what? I don't want to say I told you so, but I
It
told
was
you so.
so bad, Marie. So the machine,
The
the
milk's going down the
keyboard.
side of the.
Yeah, exactly. So it kind of, I panicked. I took the laptop, right? Because that's what you do first. And then I was just in shock. I froze, and then I could see the coffee slowly going on the. So from the, I'm right next to a wall. So from the desk to the
Yeah.
wall, and it was like it was beautiful. It was a waterfall. It was such a sight.
Yeah.
And then as it came down from the waterfall, it splashed on my floor and on the rest of the wall. It was a disaster. And I thought, yeah, I had this coming. Every single
And you
time
know
I
what's
posted
worse?
this.
You still do it. You still put the cup, and you still experiment after that. So
Yeah. I haven't
what
learned
was-
my lesson.
what was worse was I was like, Dan took maybe 5 seconds to stop and take a photo of this. And in that 5 seconds, that milk could have seeped into your keyboard and like caused like some rust. Maybe in a month's time, it's going to rust or something and or have some bad smell. And I'm like, you took the 5 seconds you took to take that photo, you should have turned your machine off, put it in rice or something. I don't know. Like, but I was like, oh my God, this 5 seconds could cost you.
You see, this is how invested I am in Twitter and X that I say, yeah, I'd rather buy a new machine or have it smell like rotten milk than miss out on this photo. You see, that's sums it up perfectly.
Slave to the algorithm, Dan.
Good team.
Yeah, I'll be the first one doing lifestyle porn or whatever we're gonna get to at some point. But okay, let me share this one by Aiden Masas. I've probably spelled this very wrong. We see it on the screen, so hopefully someone knows how this is pronounced. I'm sorry. I'm so exhausted. I've been a full-time indie hacker for the past 3 years now, built so many SaaS products for months without seeing any success. I've made a promise to my girlfriend that we'll move in together in October 2024. I just figured out that by this date, I would have made it already. I don't know when the plans were made. So by made it, he means 10K MRR. But fast forward today, I'm not even close to it. I feel like a total loser, repeating the same mistakes over and over again. And I have 4 months to go. Will I make it? I want to say yes, but the truth is I don't really know. And then he has some more thoughts on going back to 9.5 and then that he doesn't want to. Really heavy post. What do you think about this, Murray? Because actually you've mentioned in the beginning that you've kind of went through, maybe not, as this seems quite drastic, but in 2014, right, you kind of did this where you tried the startup, you as you said, played with the startup, and then you went back to 9 to 5 for a while, and then you started again in 2018, 19. Yeah. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, so there is definitely a lot of similarities. So they said they've been going in it for 3 years. So with my last one, I was at it for 2 years, and then I decided I had to go back to corporate. I guess the thing is, like, I think we put too much pressure on ourselves, to be honest. Like, if I look back, I mean, obviously I hated failing the first time and I was devastated to go back to corporate. I thought I was selling my soul and like all this stuff that probably sounds familiar to a lot of people. But in the grand scheme of things, like now I look back and I'm like, well, I feel like, look, there was some good that came out of that because when I went back to corporate, my first hire now, the person I work with, I met her when I had to go back to corporate. She was at that job, at that company. So I think we expect to, I suspect I certainly expected to, you see this a lot. Like I've seen Mark Liu write about this too. Like he thought he was the next Mark Zuckerberg. We all think we're the next Mark Zuckerberg. We all think we're going to be the ones to succeed. I definitely felt that. I was like, you know what? I got this. I read the Lean Startup. I got this. What's different about me is I'm going to actually apply the Lean Startup. I was like, I got this. Everyone feels they've got this, but it's very unlikely people succeed the first time around. And I think that maybe we should just cut ourselves some slack. And just because you don't succeed in the first 3 years doesn't mean that, you won't succeed later on. You might have to go back to corporate. Just suck it up and use that time for something. So when I went back to corporate, I had it in my head. I'm like, I'm scouting around. And I was like, I want to work with that person. I want to work with that person. I like what they're doing, like the way they think. And it ended up that when I left that corporate job, I was like, I'm going to hire this person later. I had that in my head the whole time. Like, I'm going to hire this person. Hopefully she wants to work with me, but I was like, yeah, she'll be great. And that's what happened. Like, hired her, So it doesn't have to be a negative thing going back to corporate. It could be a great networking opportunity. A lot of the startups that you see, all the Y Combinator guys, like they're meeting at uni. So the way that they've built a team, and even in the accelerator I was in, people got asked, like, how did you build the team? And they were saying, well, this is the team we've got because this is the friendship group I've got at university. So that's kind of how the team came together. So it doesn't have to be a bad thing going back. Like, yes, it's not what you want right now, but there could be some good that comes out of it. You could use the time to replenish your savings, reflect, think deeply about a problem that you want to solve. It's not forever. You can go, I'm going to go back for 1 year. I'm going to go back for 2 years. It doesn't mean you're going back forever. It doesn't mean you failed forever. You could try again. And 3 years now seems like a long time, but when we're like 50 or 60, like, we'll look back, 3 years is nothing. Like, you know, the older you get, time feels different. And when you're young, 1 year feels like forever. 2 weeks, school holidays feels forever. Like, but when you're older and you're like, I need to take a holiday, I'm going vacation in Europe, whatever. 2 weeks just goes like that. And you're like, oh my gosh, I wish it was longer. I just woke up and 2 weeks had finished. So yeah, 3 years feels like a lot now, but in your whole lifetime, when you look back, you'll be like, oh, that was a blip. Like 3 years, it didn't work. I have to go back to corporate for 2 years. That's also a blip. And then maybe you'll succeed after that for the next 10 years. Like, you don't know. Obviously, it's devastating at the time because it's not what we want right now. But because I went through it once, I feel like I can say this, that you don't know. Like, you could, as long as you keep your goal in mind and try again, that's all you can do. Just try again.
Yeah.
I love
I
this. I love
what you're
this.
saying, yeah. I think there's more pressure that we put on ourselves rather than thinking what we have learned from this experience and what we can like implement for the next project.
Yeah.
Or at least when I look at myself and the work, I mean, even in the past 6 months, there's so many things you learn and you want to improve. Like, there needs to be also ability or like just the idea that everything could fail. What can I get the best out of this? So like the failure thing shouldn't be that scary, but I mean, like, it's so nice to say these things, but then
the first
reality
the first failure feels the worst because it's human nature. Like, you're just emotionally attached. Even if you say you're not, you are, because it's your first thing that you're doing. The more times I failed with businesses, the less it hurt. Definitely. Like, it was just like a muscle, like, just, oh, okay, yeah, I failed, whatever. It still hurts. Don't get me wrong. It still hurts, but it definitely hurt the worst the first time. And I felt like such a failure the first time. And then, the second time when I stopped that dog dish business that I mentioned, the dog food one, I felt super happy about failing that.
I'm really struggling to not make a pun regarding dog fooding your product. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I'm sure everyone makes it. It's like, oh, so did you dog food your product while you were building it? Yeah. Okay. Sorry.
My dog fooded my product.
Lara, please cut this out in the YouTube. It's just a bad joke.
Lara will never do this.
It wouldn't be the Morning Maker show if Dan didn't make a bad joke.
Oh, thank you. This is very cool. And I think what you said is exactly what I think as well, that we all think we're Steve Jobs. We all think, so this is what Nico says. When I started, I also thought I'd make it within 2-3 years max because I consider myself smart. We all think, we're like so much better than we're gonna nail this, you know?
We got this.
Yeah, we got
you
this.
You guys are
we
making mistakes. I'm not gonna make a mistake.
Yeah, I know, you know, because what happens is when you come from the job, you're very confident in your skills as whatever niche you are doing. So, you know, if you're doing marketing, you're like, I'm really, you know, I've been doing this for 10 years in the job. I got this. Or developer, right? Yeah. I've been developing for 10 years. I'm brilliant. And that's just, you know, 20% of what you need. The rest of the 80, and this is why Nico is saying that everything is 10x harder. The 80 is 10x harder because it's not necessarily stuff that you enjoy doing also. You probably enjoy doing your job. So all of a sudden you have to do, you know, cold email or stuff like that. And that makes it 10x harder and definitely brings you back to reality. You think, okay, I actually am not smarter than everyone and I have a lot to learn. And it's sort of, you know, a curve that you think you know it, then you go down and then you start building it up again. And then maybe after many years, you actually do know it. And then at that time, you might feel burnt out or you might feel, okay, this is not working out. I spent so many years, but you need to go through the journey. And I don't think really there's any shortcut. and you can get lucky, but you can't really. You still need to put in the work, and you still need to, as you say, make the surface area for luck. And you do that after, not after a month, but after years of building stuff and of building products. So really resonate with what Nico is saying as well. And he's also saying that making product is not the fastest way to get income. So providing services could also be like a middle ground where you do some consulting, some freelancing, and the product on the side. So it's not like all in indie hacking, all in 9-5, right? There.
There's many different ways. I think, this is interesting because yes, you can do some consulting stuff on the side. You can also go raise money if there's some traction. So when I think about Llama Life, the goal was just survival. And if I'd calculated my runway bootstrapping it, it wouldn't have survived. And so for me, one way to survive was to go raise money. There's different ways to raise money too. It doesn't have to be the full-on like VC route. There's all different levels. There's angel investing. There's things like Calm Fund, which is a different model again. They don't look for as much they don't look as much for that hockey stick growth. They're looking for more consistent growth, sustainable growth. But there's many different ways. There's accelerators. There's like government grants. Just if your goal is survival, you've got to look outside, just like making the product, and think about what other things can I do to extend my runway. And it doesn't mean you have to get more customers. You can also go and get a government grant, go and join an accelerator program. You'll get, 75 to 100K. That's usually what an accelerator program gives you, about 100K. And that 100K is to allow you to quit your job and focus on it full time. It's basically to give you that breathing room to 100% focus on what you're trying to do. So, and then, obviously consulting on the side is another way. But I think there's a lot of creative ways to get money and extend runway. And maybe that's a little bit what Nico's saying too, is like, it's not just products, it's like services that you provide. What other skills do you have to offer that could create income and extend?
Yeah, and especially if you come out from a professional background, there's different cases, but you probably have a lot of experience to share, and that could be in the form of just sharing that as a post, right? But also in the form of small guides, and you can start as free ones to build an audience, to get emails, and then perhaps at some point you made some pay ones that are more comprehensive. Like Philippe, he's working full time, and he made the backlink builder on the side because he gathered this knowledge over a long time, and then this is going great for him. I'm not sure if in Switzerland it's very hard to be able to say, okay, I quit my job to do this, because the amount of money you need to do from the side project is quite crazy. It's a very expensive country. And that's also back to what you said. Depending on your circumstances, this might not be an option for you to just quit and do something, because some countries are just really expensive. And you cannot make, $20,000 a month just like that after you quit your job. So you don't really have this option, or maybe you have a way shorter runway because of it. So anyway, point is, you don't have to make a product. You can sell your experience, you can sell your skills in another way, and build a product perhaps based on that. And I think that if you have followed the small bets mentality, I think that aligns with that. And it's also just one way to do it. I'm not saying that is the way to do it.
Yeah.
But you can think of a product, and then you think, what is the simplest form of this product? Could this be a guide instead to do something? Could this be like a small script that you should put on GitHub or whatever, and start doing that on the side, and then build a product later on if that has some sort of traction, because it's also going to motivate. It's going to give you the gas to build that product instead. So there's many ways to approach this.
Yeah, I think one other way to phrase it would be like, if you think deep down, like what do I have to offer? Like, what do I have to offer? And it could be exactly what you said, like I have some skills that I learned in corporate, some knowledge that I could offer to somebody else. Or it could be like, say, with Llama Life, what I have to offer is I have such a deep connection with the problem that when I build a product around that problem, it's so tightly integrated. You know, that's what I have to offer there. Like I can look at the product and go, no, we're not doing that feature, or we are doing that. That's something that no one else has addressed. So I have some specific expertise in that. Someone else might have some specific expertise around SEO or marketing or, you know, something to do with dev. Like I'm also thinking about small bets that you mentioned with Daniel Vassello. So when he first started, because I've been following Daniel's journey for a while, when he first started, he put out 2 products. One was about how to grow an audience on Twitter, because that was his current experience doing that, and he was having some success. But he also had another product, which was around, I think it was around AWS, because he used to work for Amazon. So he's thinking, what do I have to offer? I have some knowledge about how this product works that maybe you don't know about because I'm very close to it. And that's what he put out as his first 2 kind of courses or offerings or whatever. But it's the same kind of thing, like, because he's thinking, like, what do I have that no one else has, and what do I have that's, you know, special? And everybody's got something special. Like, they just got to think what it is.
I fully agree. And I just want to add, there is also, and I didn't stumble on these posts, or I don't stumble on them quite often, but next to the product or money worries, there is a bunch of things that comes as well, like all the administration and the taxes and like the ability to, during just one day, move from like support to product to marketing to dealing with money and all of these things. So there is also this aspect or mentality that I think we at least don't talk much about it, or ability to switch and move through these different areas. And I think that can be super hard because, like, I've noticed with myself when I have to deal with these, you know, boards and, you know, all these stupid things.
Pivot charts.
Exactly. It goes like your brain, or what you're good at it, you kind of feel lost because now you are in this new area where you haven't been before, but you have to do it and figure it out. So, yeah.
Oh, surprise. Sandra's going to hate me. I just stumbled upon a post. I don't usually stumble upon.
Oh yeah,
these
I read
types
this
of
morning.
posts.
I'm so sorry you're feeling this way. Like, yeah, I saw this morning.
So, Sandra, you've been feeling strange, and this is what you're explaining now, that you're losing excitement, right?
Yeah. And that's like my biggest thing that I had. That's like what's keeping me, like this motivation and passion and craziness. And I think like one of the reasons why is this happening is because now you're not dealing anymore with what you're best or like what you feel the most comfortable with, but now you're going into different direction, and like there's so many things happening, and you know, so many people now involved, and there's a certain type of the pressure, and you're kind of like, okay, I need to breathe. So, or like stop for a second. And I don't think like when you start this journey, one of the things that is the best thing, at least for me, was the craziness or the passion or motivation you have. And then when you keep kind of losing that, you get really, really scared. Or I got really, really scared because it's like influencing on other areas as well.
Yeah, so you started to post less because of it, right?
Exactly.
But why do you open the new post and then you stare at it and you think, nah, I don't have anything to say right now? Or tell us all your emotions, Sandra, please. Open up. We're friends here.
Well, like, you know, all my like posts are very related to marketing and my life and, you know, Clue. And I found myself dealing with like, I don't know, these stupid charts, discussions about the scaling and people and growth and, okay, when is the second round? And so the whole switch happened between my, like, what I was dealing on a daily basis and what I was like posting on Twitter. And then you feel like, oh, I have nothing to say anymore. My head is empty. So yeah, you kind of feel like you are losing that spark you had. But I did yoga yesterday and did not help at all. So I think yoga
no, it's not.
But that's just that's one day. That's a 1 day break.
Yeah, that's 1 day trying to break 2 years of something. So I was gonna ask, when was the last time you had like a full proper holiday with no work?
Since before we started Clue, we haven't
exactly.
Exactly.
So when are you having this holiday? Because I think you kind of need a breather, maybe. I mean, I don't know what. Maybe Marie can tell you more.
I'm a great person to give a great advice. Take a vacation. Take 7 days off. Don't do emails. Don't do whatever you're doing. Don't think about work, and then come back. Dan and Marie, do that. I'm planning.
It's always hard to take. It's always hard to take our own advice. We all know what we have to do. It's very hard to do it. We all know that we need a break. We all know, like, feeling this way, but do a yoga class, touch some grass, take 2 weeks off, take a month off. We all know, like, this is the answer, but it's so hard to do. You just sound like you're burning out a little bit, though. All the stuff that you said.
No.
You're not burning out. Yeah, she's in the denial, Dan. There's different stages. You're in denial.
The first step is admitting.
Admitting?
You're...
No. No. I don't think it's that. I think I'm just like, just a little bit lost of like motivation. And then it's the most annoying part is that I'm not thinking about like how to fix, but I'm thinking about like how much this is influencing my work. And that's the most annoying part, So if I would just let it go and be like, okay, I'm shit now, and let me just touch grass and do yoga, and be fine with that, would be so much better. But I'm pushing. I think the issue is like when you're putting even more pressure on pressure without realizing it.
I was chatting with Dago, I think it was last week. I can't remember now. But we were talking a bit about burnout, and we had this we were saying it's a bad analogy, but Dago was saying actually it's a pretty good one. We were talking about like your phone battery and how basically we got to a point, like it sort of sounds like you've got to the point you're in, like your battery's really low. And you know what happens when your battery gets low? It goes into low power mode, which means you can still function, but you're not really functioning at full capacity because you're trying to conserve energy. You don't have all the full features of the phone in low power mode, kind of like that. And you go, I can make it throughout this day. But then at some point, one day, so that could happen for a few days, but one day you're not going to make it through the day and you're going to fully burn out. Screen's going to be off. Boom. It kind of sounds like you're in low power mode at the moment. So you're still getting through, but you're, not loving it as much as you
I just need a charger. I need to find a charger.
You need a charger. You need to go, you need a charger. Go find your charger.
I can recommend our next sponsor, Dr. Pepper. It's very good to recharge.
Maybe whatever's in Dan's fridge can help you recharge.
Oh,
Is that a good segue, Dan?
Oh, yeah.
I don't even know what's in your fridge.
No, it's not a sponsor. No, it's not. Actually, no, they will never. No, if we get there, you'll know it.
I'm hanging on to this call like 2 hours in because I want to know what's in Dan's fridge.
Oh, that one. Yeah, it's coming. It's coming soon.
Okay.
I feel like there's going to be more and more people joining at one point, and then there's a cake and someone is celebrating something. And
you know what this reminds me of? When, I can't remember what it's called. Like, in like political things where someone stands up and they do, what's it called? I'm just blanking on it. They'll stand up and they'll do like a 24-hour, is it a filibuster? No. Is that what it's called?
Yeah, I think it's a filibuster. Yeah, and they just keep doing it, and they do it for hours and hours. Yeah.
Like a whole day, and people bring them food and stuff, but they basically are talking and pushing their agenda like for the whole day. Maybe one day you could do a live show that just runs like the whole day. Everyone, because we're dealing with time zones around the world, right? So Europe is you're morning, Australia's winding down. I don't know, the US is probably somewhere in between. But, got to touch like the whole community. No sleeping.
No sleeping, no.
No
So
sleeping.
let's move on to something more lighthearted. I think something's going on outside. Feels like an airplane is about to take off, and I'm not close to an airport. So, but maybe Sandra, do you want to read this update from our I don't know if you know this guy, Levels.io. He's kind of
He's a
new
little
to
bit smaller
Twitter.
creator.
Yeah, small creator.
Has few products, But he's saying that the Twitter algorithm is ruthless. Product updates, 48 likes and like 40,000 views. Lifestyle porn tweets, 10,000 likes and 2 million views. 200 more. Then again, it just makes the algo more like Reddit and TikTok, which might be good, but it will change what people post on here. Did you guys prepare tweets?
So actually, I'm so excited that we have Peter Levels doing this because he's kind of taking, he's jumping for all of us and trying out stuff, and he's so transparent about this stuff. Like, say what you want, but the transparency is awesome. So here's what he says in the next tweet. So he's saying, "This might be the way to go. Post product updates, but inside lifestyle porn or similar. Still get the products across, plus go viral from the general surroundings." Okay, so far so good. Full transparency. And then, like, just the other day, I'm like browsing Twitter, and then I see a toilets in Dubai post where he's like testing this out for all of us. But the crazy part about it is it didn't work, because this one did. I don't know if this is a lot for him. Probably not. Like, good views for him is probably millions, right? So this actually kind of flopped. So just to say that the algorithm is quite unpredictable right now, and you shouldn't chase it. Like, one more reason not to chase it. But I just love that he took one for the team and experimented with this stuff.
Someone had to. Someone had to do and check toilets in Dubai and how it's going to work on X.
I just had a thought about, is Build in Public dead? I wonder if part of it is because people are relying on it as their marketing channel. Like, they build, because for me right now, Build in Public is more for me. Like, I just want to be accountable, and for my investor update and stuff, I can link stuff, but I'm not relying on it. So I'm not feeling as bad if something doesn't do well. But if you are, if you're, say you're this very typical sort of stereotypical thing, but we're saying, like, if you're a dev and you're bad at marketing, which we know, a lot of devs are bad at marketing, or they don't know how to do it. They're thinking Build in Public is like their savior, and like, I'm going to just build in public and that's my marketing. And then they're the ones that are going to feel this the most, going, it doesn't work, because it may be the only channel, or, just relying on it too much. If you're not relying on it so much, you're not going to feel that bad about it.
I never understood why Twitter is used as a marketing channel in indie community if the product has nothing to do with Build in Public or indie makers. One thing that I saw, if you do prepare, like, I don't know, to
I'll
launch
be
a
right
product,
back.
and we are getting the fridge thing. But if you do launch on now
I'm so curious. No, it could just be a toilet break, Sandra. We don't know. It could just be a toilet break.
We will see on Twitter Dan posting a picture of the toilet.
If it's a toilet, if it's a toilet break, I hope he didn't bring his AirPods in. Because
true.
Oh no, he's on mute. He's on mute.
But you know what? I'm hoping he did, because then we're gonna have a moment like before the show where we can hear ourselves double.
Yeah, I think that's why he's on mute. So we should.
Yeah.
Good.
But I was saying the only good time to like engage on, if you're like not sharing your journey in Build in Public, the only good time is to engage or like use this as a marketing channel if you're planning to launch on Product Hunt, let's say, because that's a great way to kind of build a small army of people that's going to come with you and fight that day. Otherwise, it's very hard.
Yeah, I agree. Oh my gosh, Product Hunt. I almost wore my Product Hunt t-shirt for you, Sandra. I have one from a while back.
But you know that we are having like an issues with Product Hunt now,
I
and we are
know.
trying to solve them.
I saw the posts from CEO as well, and I was like, oh my gosh. I saw Dan's post. You know what? So I launched on Product Hunt twice, long time ago. But when we released our mobile app recently in February this year, 2024, we didn't launch on Product Hunt. I decided it wasn't. I know. And I was like, I'm going to tell Sandra, and she's going to be like, no, you didn't do it right. But I was like, don't have time to do that because there's a lot of time. And I was like, what if we don't even get featured, you know, like, which is happening to a lot of indie makers, just not getting featured. There's no transparency on why. That's my biggest thing with it. Look, it's their platform. If they don't want to feature you, they don't have to feature you, but at least tell people what the rules are so you can decide if you want to submit it or not. That's my main thing, is like, there has to be some transparency, because you do whatever you want. It's your product, it's your business, but we need to know the rules that they were playing so we can play the same game, because like right now it's like, you know, it's not clear.
Yeah.
We're just talking about Product Hunt, Dan.
Yeah.
But we are excited about the fridge thing.
I lost you for a second, but I did hear the toilet joke, and it would have been hilarious if I come back in and there's like some flushing. But I didn't have the mic with me, so. But
oh yeah, because did you bring the? Okay, so you got the AirPods with you, but you put yourself on mute. But you had
but I need this tiny mic with as well, right?
Oh,
so.
Okay. You know,
it would actually have been a great use case for it.
Every time I see that tiny mic, I feel like you're gonna put some makeup or something on your face. Yeah, I'm guessing the like bristles or whatever, the fluff is to help with the sound, like to shield the mic from the sound, right? Like,
exactly. So if I put it very close, then you would hear me blowing in the mic. So
right.
It actually helps with that. So but I want to wait, don't mess this up then. Okay. I want to introduce you to our new sponsor, Red Bull. No, I'm joking. That's not it. I found it in the fridge.
Dan's living on Dan's breakfast, because it's morning time for you, right? Has so far been Dr. Pepper and a Red Bull.
Yeah. There's still a little bit left, but it's kind of warm.
Dr. Pepper zero and a Red Bull.
It's zero.
Sugar. And the Red Bull's no sugar.
All sugar free. All right, so I don't know how to do this, but I basically cracked. So I was really on the fence if I should do it, if I shouldn't, but I think
I'm scared
it's
now.
Important. It's important for me as a community.
Oof, he's getting close. You know, when Dan gets close to the screen, something's going to happen. It's like
wait. Let me do this right.
Oh my gosh.
So as a community, I think it's important.
He's coming, but I'm moving back.
Oh, you're just like, get out of here. I need to try this, and I need to try it and talk to you about it. It's going to be hard with the tiny mic, but I will try. But I bought something and I put it in the fridge because that's the only reasonable way to do it. Are you ready?
Yes. Oh, no way.
I bought the Mr. Beast chocolate.
Wow, okay. Yeah. I've never tried this, but I've heard a lot about it. I've heard that it's not very good though, Dan.
It was freaking expensive. Like, I got it on a sale, and it was, I don't know what currency should I use, but like close to $4 on a sale. And it is what?
I paid 10 in Helsinki.
60 grams.
60 grams. How big's that? Put it next to your face so we can get some scale.
It's not too big.
Oh, that's all right for $4.
Is it? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think I paid. Okay, so $8 Australian will be about like $5 US. I paid about $5 US for this chocolate the other day. It was like by this company called Tony's. It's really good. But
that's expensive. That's expensive.
That's expensive, right? But it's a goodwill thing behind it too.
Yes, also that is like closer to 200. It's a big chocolate, that one.
Okay. So this is real. Your head must be really big, then, because I'm like,
Yeah,
big.
right.
Put it next to your face so we can get a sense of 60 grams. Oh, AirPods. Okay. Okay, it's quite small. Yes.
So small. It's
So
small
like
chocolate.
two and a half AirPods.
Oof.
Yeah, I don't know. I think it seems expensive. Like, okay, just to give you like a ballpark, like if you get a Snickers, which is probably 45 grams. I don't know if grams is like the right way, but you can get that for like $1.50, right? I don't. Okay, it's not organic, or is this supposed to be organic or something? No, it doesn't say. It's just well, it says pure chocolate, whatever that means. Pure chocolate.
Also, why are you holding chocolates in the fridge? Who does that?
What do you mean?
What do you
has
mean?
to go
That's
on the
the
fridge.
only way. That's the only way to eat chocolate.
Yeah,
We're not doing the show
No.
anymore.
that's it.
No, it
Hang on.
has to be soft and nice, not cold and like crunchy.
By the way, Mr. Beast is not a sponsor. Yet.
That crack. This is turned into an ASMR podcast with the crackling and the
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll put the mic close so you can hear that.
Wait, can you? Oh, the facial reaction. Can you describe what's on the top?
It's horrible.
Vomit
It's
in public.
horrible.
So
It
thank you,
tastes
Mr.
really-
Beast, for sponsoring Morning Maker Show.
Wait, Lara, cut this out. I didn't.
Can you show the Is like little squares and then a big square? What's written on it? Is there anything interesting?
Oh my god, it tastes. You know how it tastes? I think
What
I
does it
got
say?
the wrong one.
Feastable.
Feastables. I think it tastes healthy.
Oh,
Chocolate's not supposed to taste healthy.
And if it's not healthy, then it's a problem. Then
I
it's
think
just
I
a
got
bad
the wrong
chocolate.
one, so I got the dark chocolate one. It's healthy, but also very sugary at the end. I don't like it.
I'm
Yeah.
nervous why they had to write on it that it's pure chocolate. What does that mean? Like pure
I'm
chocolate?
sorry. Yeah,
I
because chocolate is a bunch of ingredients usually.
I read something that Mr. Beast was using a ghost kitchen to make stuff, but then it was so bad. Like he himself admitted the chocolate was so bad that they tried to do it themselves or something. Or was that the burger? There was also a burger.
there is a burger as well.
Burger, yeah.
Yeah,
But
I'm afraid I'm not gonna try the burger. I think I'll stop here. Sandra, but didn't you try this? Well, did you taste
I
it?
did, and I told you it's bad. And I
Okay.
told you I paid 10 euros for bad chocolate, and I hate myself
10
and my brother
euros.
at that point. Yeah.
That's a lot.
was
That's 10
so
euros.
expensive.
A lot. Yeah.
Yeah.
For that? Yep.
Honestly, I could have gotten a small wedge of cheese for this money. I could have.
I think we've learned our lessons. That, like the cheese is the way to go on the show. Just pull out your cheese, and that's it. At one moment, I thought Nico is going to just eat it like that. Just put it in, no cutting, no board, just like whole on cheese in the mouth.
Was it just
I need to
random,
drink
like-
something like this. The taste lingers, and it's.
oof?
I
Mixed
have one
with
more.
red.
I have one more question for Marie. Out of these fidget spinners, which is your absolute
Oh my
favorite?
gosh. Oh, which is my favorite? Oh,
And what is the total number of fidget spinners you have currently?
I love that you found this post. This is from 2022.
Yeah, it's fairly recent.
Well, I can show you like, okay, so I have this one here, which is the keyboard one this is really cool. It's like, I actually
Also,
set
that's
these-
like a proper board, but just a tiny version
it's a
of
proper
it.
mechanical keyboard. You would like these. They're actually browns, and I don't know. The only thing is like the base is kind of plastic, so that's not good for the feel. But it's pretty good. I have a new one that's not in that photo. This is kind of my favorite right now. It's like a real life toggle switch. Look, I love toggle switches on UI as well. Look at this. So this is a magnet, and both sides have a magnet. It's printed like
This
it's
is
a
a new
3D
one.
print.
This
This
is
is
a
a-
new one.
Yeah, it's not in the picture. It's a 3D print, and you can get it in different colors. And each side has a magnet, so it's like got a very satisfying.
Oh, that click.
It's a
That
real life
click.
toggle switch. Anyway, this whole podcast so you can do it silently as well, but this whole podcast, like behind the scenes, I've just been playing with it this whole time. This is what I dropped on the floor earlier. Remember I said, oh my God, I just dropped something. Sorry, like the noise, that was this thing. And then I have this other one, which is just like a pop thing.
But this one, you had
yeah.
a version with 3 of those, right? That's a classic.
Yeah. This is I can't find the 3 one anymore, so I had to buy this 2 one. Then what else have I got?
You see, this is the quality. This is the quality we have here at the Morning Maker Show. I know all of your fidget spinners. I know what's new, what's old. We do our research.
I'm surprised you got, and then I got this one. This is a Llama Life.
I know this
spinner.
one. Yeah, that's so cute.
Yeah,
I
this
know
one's
this
pretty
one.
cool.
Can people buy that?
No, we don't have a.
You don't have a merch.
We were doing at the beginning. We were doing swag, so we were sending out quite a lot of stuff like this, but it wasn't worth it because we're in Australia, so it's kind of hard to post stuff. You know, it was very expensive to post stuff as well, and stuff was getting lost in customs. Like a lot of the stuff didn't even make it to where it was meant to get to. And to make this was kind of very time consuming. If I could do it again, I'd be like, forget it. We spent too much time trying to make t-shirts for ourselves. Like, you know how when you do your first startup and even the second or third, like it's kind of nice to have a t-shirt, right? But we spent way too much time going, what t-shirt, what brand, what fabric? And it was like such a waste of time because that's not going to bring in money. That's just going to make you feel good that you're playing startup. And we're like, we need a t-shirt, guys. The team needs a t-shirt. And then we made all these fidgets, but too much time spent. The first round came back really bad. And we're like, no, you need to do them again. Like stuff like that. But grand scheme of things, it's not important. Doesn't matter if the fidget had like, the printing was slightly off. And I was like, that's not acceptable. Do it again. But
we cannot have this in our company. Yeah,
we cannot have that. It was like 2 millimeters off, but you know it's not worth it. So yeah, we're not doing that anymore. I have a lot of fidget spinners. I probably got like 100 or 200. I don't know, just sitting there. And we also made this. This one is good. We might send these out. It is a microfiber cloth. And it comes with its own little pouch. This thing is the best microfiber cloth I've ever had. It's got a little llama on it. This cleans my laptop screen. I use this every day.
I love
it. And then you just push it. You just push it in like a sleeping bag, and then you can hang it on your bag.
But you know what's cool
really
about
good.
that? Because you don't have it lying around, and it doesn't gather the dust.
Yes, that's exactly.
Exactly. Because this is the what eventually happens with all of my cleaning stuff. It kind of gets dusty and so that I need that. This
was something else that I made when I was playing startup, not doing startup. I made this pop socket. Like you can do custom pop sockets, and it's super nice as a fidget thing. But you know what? It's not going to bring in any revenue.
But but you have such a nice
I was like, I need this, but
you do. I mean, the brand is so nice. It would be a shame not to do this, I think. Like a lot of, startups, they don't have this worked out at all. This really strong personality and characters and everything. And I feel like those that do are often more successful because they're more recognizable, and you probably have that all figured out. And it's
really.
So no,
it seems like
it seems like you do.
Seems like we do, but like no, we're just struggling like everyone else, just trying to feel our way through. Like every day, it's like I don't know, will this work?
But I love it. When I did time flies. But when I did this clubber launch,
I got this other one too. This I just got the other day. I don't even know what it does. It's not very.
Okay. I'll get back to what I was saying. This is more important. What does it do?
This reminds me of Star Wars when Luke's training to be a Jedi, and he's got the blindfold on, and there's this little ball that's like and it's shooting little lasers out. You know what I'm talking about? That's why I got this. Totally. I'm like, this is so cool, but it's really like doesn't do much.
It's just a ball.
There's one hole that's empty, and then you're meant to like push push the balls
colors.
into that hole, and then you've got to match the ball color with this ring color.
Yeah.
But it doesn't really do very much. I just thought it looked
How does it
cool.
feel though? Does it feel good?
It doesn't even feel that good
Okay, that's
as a
then
fidget,
that's nice.
but it looks
Yeah.
super cool because it reminds me of that Star Wars thing where it's like flying around, you know?
Yeah.
And I'm so fidgety. It's really, I have to have stuff because if I don't, the energy doesn't go anywhere. So I have this.
You
as
need
well.
an outlet for all the energy.
This is super
show
cool.
me this one.
It's a fidget cube. It's very old now, but each side of the cube has something like this. Got a little switch. Then there's a little joystick thing here. You know, like a
it's
gaming thing.
multifunctional.
Yeah, and then this side's just got like buttons that you click. This is like some ball, and I don't know. It's just very. That's just like a smooth. Like it's meant to be like a smooth stone. Feels
So like
kind of-
a Swiss Army knife of fidget spinners, basically.
Yeah, in a cube. I have so much stuff like this, but I don't know. Variety is the spice of life. And then I got this 2x2, which I'm not really huge into
never
Rubik's
ending.
Cube,
I feel like
but I
when
can do
you know
them, but I'm
we
not
kind
good
of
at them.
we kind of
We're
think
going off topic.
no we kind of think like I think we're done with the fidget spinners, and then there's one more coming
There's
up out of
one more.
nowhere.
But it's
This
not
one's
like the
new.
color is different. The shape is different.
Oh yeah. It's,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
it's like it is. Yeah, it's a different concept somehow, right?
Yeah,
So,
and
okay,
then,
one more.
okay,
One more. Do you have
one
more?
more? Okay. Well, you know, pop socket. Everyone knows pop socket. Well, let's see if I can angle this down. I don't know if this is gonna work. It's gonna work. Maybe. No, this way.
It's good.
Shit, is this gonna work? Okay.
It's
That's
good.
the
It's
edge.
good. Yeah.
That's the edge of my desk.
Yeah.
See, and I put this pop socket. I just stuck
On the
pop socket
desk.
on my desk so I could do this the whole day and just be like, if I'm stressed, I'll just be like, and I can pretend like, okay, I'm gonna get some MRR now, and I'll just be like, okay.
I love it. I love it. Oh, when you do a release and you just slam it
just like
down.
slap it down. Yep. Yeah, I
I
don't
think
know.
I found
This is
my
what I do.
cure.
What?
I think
found your cure?
you need a few of these, and your burnout's gonna be. Oh,
put
sorry,
the-
not burnout. Your
Stick these-
whatever.
Put these pop sockets around your desk. And it's like, hey, launch day. We're gonna launched. Product hunt launched.
Love it.
Oh my god, I need that for the next launch.
Yeah, that's about it.
All right.
Yeah, that's about it.
What do we think? Is it time to wrap it up?
Let's do it.
Well, we
Sandra?
can go into 3 hours more. We did 2. Let's like now go on the
The-
third.
I don't have any more chocolate in the fridge. I'm sorry.
The next step would be me going like crack open a bottle of wine, but probably should wind up.
Yeah, just wait
Yeah.
for Mary's morning at this point, and that's about it.
We're gonna filibuster all the way through.
Yeah. Well, I think with the wine, Sandra is ready at any point of the day. It's a bit early for me. It's 10 a.m.,
It's
but
11.
I think
It's 11 for me. I could.
You guys are only 1 hour apart. Like it's
and we cannot figure this out at all. Like we're so bad with time zones, you can't imagine. Last Saturday, we were like, "Wait a second, is the show in 10 minutes?" And Sandra was like, "Wait, what? That doesn't make sense." No, it doesn't. I'm not even out of
You're
bed
only-
yet.
oh no.
Yeah.
There's a really good you know, time and date. Okay, so I'm really okay. I don't want to start a whole new topic, but I'm really fascinated by products like this. It's called timeanddate.com. This website has been around for a long time. They must be doing pretty well, right?
Actually, I
And-
checked it out when you sent it to me.
It's really good. It's really good. And they have a subset of their web page called meeting.com or something, meeting times. Somehow within timeanddate.com, there's like meeting.com or something, which will show you like different time zones and exactly like when it's green, it means that it sort of works for both people. And when it's red, it doesn't. But this site is not like super fancy, but it's very, very functional. Oh, Dan's going to pull it up. Yeah, timeanddate.com. You go to, where is it? Meetings?
Time
Is
zone
it like a-
converter. Or...
Meeting planner. So good. And the UI is not like anything fancy, right? But you just put it in. I use this all the time. And yeah, it's
I'm
super
not sure
good.
what I'm. close enough. Actually, what's the closest city to you?
Me? Melbourne. Yeah.
Is there a Melbourne in here? Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
This could be a bit
It's
of a search
really good.
thing, but I got
Really
it.
good.
Okay, and then we have Helsinki. I don't have to scroll, but it's just okay.
Yeah, so you should check it out. So like red means like doesn't work,
Yeah.
and then green sort of acceptable, I guess. You know?
Ah, yeah. So it's kind of opinionated that
this
you cannot.
Yeah.
Do.
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
really
Oh,
good.
and then we actually got like a very good time.
And then we've got
No,
UTC
wait.
time as well.
Wait. No. Wait, I'm looking at this wrong. You see, this one we got full green. Yeah. This one we got.
Yeah, full green. I mean, it's a
Yeah.
bit early for you, Dan, but
It was all right. It was all right. I have my Dr. Pepper. It's fine.
anyway, it's pretty good.
Chocolate
But
and bed.
but as a business, this fascinates me because it's
Yeah.
like,
What's their business model? Do you know?
I
do they
think
make
ads, but you might have it. Do you have an ad blocker because it's not showing an ad on the side?
Yeah, I do. Yeah.
Should I say that on air? But
Do I get cancelled? Yeah.
but I
Oh,
think
they
it's
have
ads,
localized ones too. That's cool.
and they've got an API. It looks like in the bottom right, I saw a link to an API,
Yeah, they do.
and they've got
The
other
German
apps.
one.
I wonder if some other company owns them. You know, like a really big media company or
Yeah.
something. But
Yeah, it could be. Yeah.
But I've been looking at this site for a really long time, and it has evolved. But I'm always like, I'm just amazed by this kind of business.
Yeah. Oh, did you see the copyright? 1995, 2024.
Wow.
Yeah,
They've been in
definitely
business
around.
for a while. I think they figured out the
Yeah.
business model by now. Yeah.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Oh wait,
very
it
cool.
says it's ad. Wait, go down the bottom. Love our site. Browse our site. Ad. Oh, okay, so there are ads. You can pay for it ad free. Who's going to pay for that though? I don't understand because I don't use it all the time. I only use
Yeah,
it for
who's-
specific things. Like, okay, I got to do a meeting. I'll figure it out.
Who's the perfect customer? Yeah, but some sort of B2B thing, right?
Yeah,
Someone
companies
just-
probably.
Nika just posted on Twitter, please another 2 more hours. I don't know, how long can we go? How long can we go? I might need to crack open something. But yeah. Oh.
Well, there was around like I think at this point there was around like 700 people
What?
in and out. Yeah.
No, but I don't know how these views are are counted. But I think that's like the total. I don't know.
Yeah, the total.
So okay, now we got into this genre, but Joam, he's saying worldtimebuddy.com is also very good. Have you tried
Oh,
that?
that one is good.
Is it
Oh,
good?
It might be
Or-
that.
That
Is
one
this
is
the one
good.
that I sent you, Sandra? It's called
Yeah, that
Time
was
Buddy
second version of the
This one
or
here.
World Time Buddy. Let's see this. Yes, this is
Yeah,
this
this
is the
one,
other one
yeah.
I use. This is awesome
yeah.
because
Yeah,
it's less
yeah.
cluttered and it
Yeah.
just gives you the info that you need.
Yeah.
This is an app as well. I have it on my phone as well. I believe it's free or just a couple of bucks, but it's so worth it. One-time payment.
Yeah.
How
Yeah.
good is this? So
I need to
good.
get this. I need to get this because my life is not under control time zone wise. I'm failing at it very badly. So
We are
But
failing
Sandra's
at
putting
1
up with me.
hour difference.
yeah. All right,
But then
Sandra.
it's like, which hour is it ahead or behind? And it's
Oh,
like, it's
don't.
confusing.
Don't
There
ruin
was
my
a moment
Sunday, Marie.
yesterday.
Don't.
So
There
being in
was a
Austra-
moment yesterday. I'm sorry, but there was a moment yesterday where Dan is asking, "Do you mean before, like 1 hour, or after 1 hour?"
yeah, which could be a 2-hour difference if you get it wrong. But you know, because
Yeah.
I'm in Australia, like I've got to deal with this a lot, and you wait till you get to like a 16-hour difference, then you're talking about like it's a different day. Like we're still within the same day. It's your Sunday, my Sunday, but
Yeah.
sometimes like we have to deal with stuff where they're in the States and
Oh, yeah.
Australia, and then it's like,
Yeah.
oh, it's the day before. Then it's
What
like
what
it's super
about
confusing.
India, which has the half hour in it as well? Did you?
Oh
deal
yeah,
with
the
that?
half hour. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Forget it. Forget the forget the half hour. That's
Yeah, Sandra, there's one more level to this where you're like, yeah,
there's
they're
a
like,
half. Yeah, it's not a clean 1 hour difference or 2 hours. Like 1.5 hours or something.
Oh
There's-
my god!
Yeah. Yeah.
No, 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 no.
No.
Yep.
Enough of this. Let's enjoy the Sunday.
Yep.
Sandra, will you please take it away? Tell people where to find us, what we're doing, and I will just have to take this all in. It was so awesome to have you, Marie. Let's do this again very soon.
It was really fun. Yeah.
Yeah. Marie, thank you first of all for joining us and showing us all your widgets. It was really cool. I think you cured me. I think I need to go to the store at this point and buy myself some. But ladies and gentlemen, thank you everyone for listening this lovely show. You can listen to us on Spotify, on Apple. You can even watch us on YouTube. We write great newsletters. We talk about great products and great makers. And sometimes we bring great people to the show. Have a lovely Sunday, or if you are wherever in the world, I have no idea whichever day it is. It's a weekend at least, correct? Yeah. So, oh my God, there is even firework happening.
What? Don't stop. We were doing so well.
Is that a gesture-based?
It's a gesture. Yeah.
It's not
yeah.
doing
But
Have a lovely Sunday, everyone.